city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap-ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu, and I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody south of Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and plan to getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That trade season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it
I hate
for
these
us.
average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my own flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete, I'm a verbal athlete, deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building, my whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
I say to you, community, let's take up space. We weren't supposed to make it through the vast Atlantic or back to the door of no return. So shine like the gold in our skin and the first porch light ever lit. 'Cause we lit and we stay lit. It is with love that everything we touch is ablaze with brilliance. We made jazz and had the blues so hard we're still nodding our heads, but this time we sampled What a Wonderful World. What a way to escape the pain and revel in joy. To the Marsha P. Johnsons who woke up our pride. To the Jimi Hendrix who burned his guitar. For the tennis-playing sisters, for those who didn't make it. And I promise not to fake it. We still want our 40 acres, a mule, and reparations. To the barbers and stylists who still carry on tradition. For the laughter through the tough times, the dead and the living that we hold sacred. To be a people who built empires out of sticks and stones and turned the names they called us into songs. We are still here.
Grand Rising and good morning to everybody out there. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I am your co-host, Trey Holiday, and we've got a great show packed in for you this beautiful, kind of sleet-filled, kind of rainy, and a little bit wet and cold Monday morning. But as always, we do this as a team, a great on duo. Got to give it up to my guy, Big O. What up, Big O?
Good morning, Trey Holiday. Happy Monday to you. Yeah. It's good to see you here.
Great to see you, my friend. Happy Monday.
Yeah, you can tell a big shout out to my friends across the street Street at Cafe Hitchcock because they wired me up, if you can't tell.
Hey, their coffee's on point.
I'm revved up, ready to go. And before we get into it, man, we got the hood weather report. Eric Calligraphy just came down from the hill, from Capitol Hill. He said, you said it's snowing up there, right? All right, we got some snowflakes in the city limits, especially looks like at the higher elevations. It looks like we're still good here at the waterfront. But, you know, if you're from Seattle, or maybe if you're new from Seattle, you learned that if it ever sticks downtown on First Avenue, that means the rest of the region it's a wrap.
Yeah, really.
This is the last place for the snow to stick, so we'll keep an eye on that. Exciting show here today. We got Debrena Jackson Gandy. You know, it's a big deal for me. The last time I got to talk to Debrena, it was a real special moment, actually. We were doing the talking about Comcast Rise, and we were having a forum, a panel discussion, and that's when Louis Rudd from Ezell's came and presented us with a rub check. Yeah, grant $2,500. So real happy to have Debrena in the building. It's been 2 years since I saw Debrena in person. That was probably back over there on Jackson Street. And so she has an event coming up. We want to spread the word about that. And, you know, we're looking back at 2021, and Jake Grab we had an opportunity to put some real special stuff together this weekend. And so we're going to be airing that in the show. And so I'm excited about it.
Hey, great show indeed. What a way to start our week, man, right? Going into the holidays. Looking forward to everything we got going on this morning.
Yeah. Speaking of that, man, I need a new ball cap. Look at that. I see what I look like there. The big woo. I look like I might be hitting the Mariner store this afternoon. I'm wearing them down. All right, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I want to remind you that right now it's a perfect time for you to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here and looks like the snowy Emerald City. Want to give a big shout out to our partners over at the South Seattle Emerald and KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. Reminding everybody that you can listen to the Morning Update Show anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. Looks like they got SoundCloud coming in right over there, but you can also find us on Google, Spotify, iTunes, anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network. Also, we see it in the news, man. It's a lot of stuff shutting down. We're going to have to, looks like we might have to bring the coronavirus update show back. But we got a link going in the comments right now. If you need to get vaccinated, looks like, man, vaccination, booster shot, or if you're vaccine hesitant, you know what I'm saying? There's questions that can be answered right there on that link. And for people who need to get vaccinated, and right now, it looks like this inclement weather is coming in. In some cases, they can bring the vaccine to your house.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, don't let the inclement weather stop you. If you're like, you know what, now is the time, particularly as we're learning so much more about this new Omicron variant. It is real. I mean, some of the numbers that we're seeing in Washington State, almost around 5,000 cases a day. So you're right. I mean, when we get this data out, I remember how, you know, impactful the coronavirus update was for folks, man. People were trying to tune in because, again, we're at that precipice of time where so much information is coming in.
Nah, this is true. 100%. And, you know, also in this conversation, we want to continuously leave a little bit of space and grace for people who are vaccine hesitant, because every time there's a zig and a zag, the people who are hesitant are like, see, I told you so. So, you know, I mean, I think we probably need to ramp up our communication here as well, but we definitely always want to let people know about the resources that are out there. All right, we've been talking about it, Trey Holiday, and, you know, this Wednesday we're going to get it nutcracking. We got it. There it is. This beautiful photo right here. The Nutcracker. It's Converge Night at McCall Hall. This Wednesday, the 22nd, 7:30 p.m. We're going nutcracking over there. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as they said when they came here, we got to speak to some of the ballet dancers. And honestly, this is a great time to get your family out there. We even have some tickets that folks can still get access to. So that's part of it, y'all.
We got pairs of tickets. Go ahead, put me up right here. So we got some tickets. I'm handling this personally. You know, we used to send the ticket request to Ike.
Yeah.
I'm handling this personally. So we got some tickets here. Then sets it two, and I got tickets for you, our viewing audience. But we want, if you've already seen the Nutcracker or been to a ballet before, you should want to pass on this one, right? We want to reach out to people who've never been to the ballet, they've never seen the Nutcracker, and also maybe if somebody wants to bring maybe a child or a youth with him. So all that being said, like I said, I'm managing this one personally. Email me, Omari, OMARI, at whereweconverge.com. Put Nutcracker tickets in the subject line, and let's see how we can get it nutcracking on Wednesday night. I know you're going. Basis going. T-Dub's going. Are you going calligraphy Wednesday? Looks like we might got an extra set.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
But man, let us know if you want to go to the Nutcracker.
Yeah, and you know what? O's doing a really good job making sure the term nutcracking is out there, man. Come out, get a nutcracking with us. Bring friends, family, sets of two. And as he said, man, if you've never been able to see the ballet, this is such an iconic show. And literally, Pacific Northwest Ballet is doing the work of diversifying the cast. I mean, come out, get its great experience for you, your friends, family. Come on out.
Yo, this next thing here, I need to call Erica Schultz, photographer over at the Seattle Times, because she's always the one. This is 2 times in 1 year, this ugly mug on the cover of a Pacific magazine in the Seattle Times. We got an overlay right here. Go ahead and put this up. You believe this? This is let's say there. This was in the Seattle Times yesterday, and they did a postscript. They kind of did a look back on last year. It said, Omari Salisbury and Converge Media are still the little engine that could. And yeah, it was crazy because, I did the interview a while ago and I forgot about it. And then yesterday morning, like from 6 a.m., like my phone just started going off and going off and going off. And believe it, 2 times. So that's the web version. There's actually a print version, the magazine version of this, 2 times on the cover. And these guys are good too, because, I did a wardrobe change during the photo shoot. And in the first cover, I'm in my Converge. In the second one, I'm in No Excuses. And they mentioned No Excuses jobs that's in there that we're launching next month, actually. And I just take a moment to say, try and some great photos in there. Also, Jake Grabrot. If you look at the photo credits in there and the article, and there's a link right there that Curtis will go ahead and put in the comments. Those are Jake Grabrot's photos right there in the Seattle Times. Yeah,
you know what? This was a really great showcase of what we do here at Converge. It's such a family, and I love the fact that they were able to use some of Jake's amazing photos. We get to see his brilliance every single day. He's always shooting behind the scenes, behind these cameras, getting some amazing shots of us, candid shots, and they always turn out so good. So I love that they were able to use some of those shots for this. And shout out to you over there at Seattle Times for recognizing Converge Media.
Yeah, and I'll say this, and I'll continue to say this, is one, first of all, thank you for all the people who continue to support us. You know what I'm saying? It's your support that keeps us on air here. And 2, I sent out a tweet yesterday, and I said that Converge is the people's platform. And Converge's success is the Emerald City success. And that's something that we've had here and hold sacred from day one. Debrena, the people of this city trust Converge so much. They trust us so much, and we never, ever, ever, that's one thing we never play with, is the trust of the people here in this city. And we're also always so humble because they support us here. They keep these lights on. They keep the internet going and everything happening here. So a great opportunity to convey our thanks to the good people here, not only in the Emerald City, but around the region.
Yeah, absolutely. And, shout out to everybody who's really been giving us support. We have seen support on an international level as well. So shout out to those of you who are tuning in to the Morning Update Show and Converge Media all the way from Switzerland and Sweden and Australia.
There, right?
And,
Olivia.
Some of the countries that we've seen
Kenya.
Tuning in, it really does make us understand that what we're doing here is unique. It's different. And we hear it all the time from community members. And so shout out to everybody who's really been showing us that love.
All we doing, Trey Holiday, is thriving in our blackness.
There we go. There we go. Hey, we're moving forward in our purpose and in our humanity, my friend.
I'm going to tell you, though, right? I can't really say no names because people work at other networks and other things. They be so happy when they come over here to Converge because they know they can be 100% out they black bag. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's just what it is. It's a breath of fresh air sometimes for people coming in here into the Black Media Matters studio. Man, T-Dub, we all know that, like, T-Dub, the artist, part of the Vivid Matter Collective, the Black Lives Matter mural up there on Capitol Hill, customizes all these shoes, visual, dances. I didn't know T-Dub was a poet. It's crazy. So let me tell you, let me set this up. We got a lot of stuff that's coming out from our trip down to Belize. Big shout out to Alaska Airlines and the Belize Tourism Board. And Brady McAtee, who we had on the show last week, oh man, I don't know, he's finding his stride on this footage. He sent over something from a place that you guys went in Don Griga, Belize, where they make the cassava bread and actually a few other products. And I sent this over to T-Dub, and I was like, yo, this is ill. What can you, and I was thinking it was going to be like a narration. Like, we went to the cassava plant and they did this, and that. She came back with bars. Go ahead, play this, Curtis.
These hands bear fruit and witness through muscle and memory to that which cannot be taught. Passing down the blueprint of flowers and wringing waters from the root, bringing nourishment to the masses. There is no grade that can attain the heat that we sustain. A path unclear to most, and still we press on. We flip survival into revival again and again. Be reminded of where you come from, for life is the foundation of every generation.
Oh my goodness. There we have it. Brilliance in the making. You know what? It's such a beautiful clip that Brady put together, and what amazing words from, an all-around artist in T-Dub, man, because I got to see T-Dub's dance moves, like you said. T-Dub, amazing piece to put together with this. So shout out to Brady and T-Dub to be there, honestly, and see the mass production of cassava and how they use it in a wide variety of products. This is the only plant that's doing mass production of cassava, making cassava bread. We saw right there the entire thing, to be able to interview that family. It's a generation that has been doing this, and they have elevated the machinery. So now they're doing real mass production. They're moving from wood to like steel. It was a phenomenal story. And that right there captures the heart of it all.
Yeah, this is good stuff. And so, we got a lot of, so what we got going on here is that every few days we're dropping something there from our Belize experience. And then we've got some episodes that are going to be coming up. And, GTFO season 2 episode number 1. I don't know. Grab Rob might have it already in the can. And then right after that, we've got the first episode of At the Art of the Matter. And in February, just set proper expectations. Something phenomenal about your visit over there to Palmetto Grove and the Grove and the People.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to these segments coming out, because not only were we there working, but it was like building relationship and connection to the people in such an authentic way. Oh, and I got one of my Belize shirts.
You built
I got one of my Belize shirts right here from one of the tours we did at the Rum Factory. Shout out to the family over there. Another family story involved in their rum production, man. Beautiful time.
I was about to say, you built a relationship with them rum people. In all transparency, I was a little hungover when we went to the rum place, so I ain't sampled none. but y'all sampled all the rum.
Oh, it was a great time.
I got one more clip here before we go to break. And I sat down with Seattle City Council member Tammy J. Morales, representing District 2 last week on Friday. We're going to air that interview here tonight, anywhere that you're watching the Morning Update show at 9 p.m. And, there's an elephant in the room in talking with Councilmember Morales, because I've been saying, how come ain't nobody talking about these young kids dying on the South End? And we've been waving the flag and screaming at the top of our lungs. And that was the very first thing that I brought up with Councilmember Morales. I wanted to take a moment and talk to you about something real serious and something that's near and dear to our heart here at Converge, something we've been beating the drum literally for years. And that's the issue of gun violence and violence overall, and gun violence in our community, and especially gun violence in your district, District 2, as well as District 3. I saw last month that your office had put out a release, and the first thing that you talked about is that you wanted to address the fact that people are impacted. The second thing that you want to talk about was a short-term plan of like, okay, How do you address violence that's occurring? The third thing that you talked about was what investments need to occur on the upstream. Now, what I wanted to go ahead and get out of the way so then we could talk about these three things that you proposed is like we've been saying for a long time, we really wanted council, the city, to get more active, to say something. It doesn't necessarily have to be, oh, this person did this, who's right, who's wrong, but to acknowledge the fact that, you know, communities are impacted, families, communities, businesses are impacted. And one, I'm glad to hear you know, that you put out this statement, but also maybe you can help people understand from your side, because we've been explaining from our side, maybe from your side, why at times the city has been quiet.
Sure. Well, thank you for the question. You know, and I've heard you. I know that there is a lot of trauma people are experiencing. We know that, you know, as you said, the South End in particular has been dealing with gun violence for generations. And I think, speaking for myself, I know I need to do better about reaching out to community, about addressing it when things like this happen. And I will say that very often it feels invasive to try to talk to a family who's experiencing so much trauma. So that, you know, for myself, that's, I know, a big part of the reason why it's hard. But as you said last month, when we just have had so much escalation, a high uptick in gun violence just this year, it's really important to acknowledge that it's happening and really acknowledge the impact that it's having on our community and on individual families.
Right. And I mean, and I'll say this, is that there's one thing we talked about, me and Trey Holiday the other day, is that through people's different lived journey and experience, how they're dealing with people in crisis and loss is different. And there's some people that got on the council who this is all brand new to them. And there's other people who are elected who, unfortunately, they've been dealing with this, you know, their whole life or been a part of it. And the one advice that I would say is that when people are going through it or in crisis, then however people are in their best self, it's always going to be accepted.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that we probably all mess ourselves up when we overthink it. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, clearly I can't speak on behalf of everybody, but a lot of the people I come in contact with, just acknowledgement is cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, thank you. And I think it is important to acknowledge the loss and the humanity of the people who have lost their lives, of their families that have been traumatized. And, you know, what I can commit is to doing better, to reach out to folks, and as you said, just to acknowledge that there's a lot people are going through.
You know, I gotta say, I really appreciate how you framed the question to understand it from her perspective. And I never thought about that, you know, a council member may say that it seems invasive to the family who's dealing with a tragedy to try to reach out to them. I've always understood it that, hey, they would appreciate being talked to. They would appreciate being, you know, connected with no matter what, because at the end of the day, they helped you get into office. But to hear it from that perspective, it brings in and it adds something to my understanding of the whole thing. But I you know, I also love how she really just stood firm and said she can do better. But what does that mean? And how do we then now hold, you know, our elected officials accountable to doing better? What does that look like?
Right. And, you know, I only had like 14 minutes. So, you know, I'll give everybody fair warning. It's a short interview. And, you know, I mean, that was definitely number one. I wasn't going to talk about nothing until we talked about that and the silence that's been coming out of City Hall. But you talked about meeting with community, working for, you know, disruption in the short term and investment in the long term and some everything else. And I would just say this, that people in crisis are people in crisis. And, you know, if there's anybody out there that's listening being like, man, how do I approach something? Like, you know, if an apartment building burnt down and everybody lost everything, you wouldn't think twice about however you approached it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because crisis is crisis. There's levels of it, of course. But, you know, I mean, to show up as your authentic self, whatever that might be, and even maybe culturally or live journey way or, or anything else. You know what I'm saying? That's the best thing people can do. But we can no longer as a city continue to proceed without at least acknowledging the trauma and the way that our communities are impacted. And, we cannot find a resolution to things until we really look at everything holistically, and we have to stop neglecting the victims, especially in the victims' families.
Yeah, I mean, and almost every real solution, if you look back at it, is going to start with the discussion, right? And we talk about centering the voices of those who have lived through it, who have experienced it at the highest rates. And that's exactly what, these approaches need to take into account here. So, being able to connect with community, plug in with them, reach out when things are actually going on so that it doesn't even seem like to the family that it's an afterthought, I think is really a great approach. And we'll see how this plays out. But I think us understanding a little bit more from the other perspective and the other side of, Councilmember Morales there really allows us now to understand even more how to hold our elected officials accountable in every district. I think she's setting some type of example there.
Every district. That full interview tonight, 9:00, anywhere you're watching the Morning Update show. I'm going to get off the set because next up, I got a handcrafted motion graphic for this. Look at that. Debrena Jackson Gandy makes her way to the set. You're watching the Morning Update show.
Hey guys, Besa Gordon here, and before heading to Belize, Trey Holiday and I had to make sure we linked up with our good friends over at Market Street Shoes to, of course, grab a few things for the trip. From bags to socks, shoes, sunglasses, earrings, and more. Before going on any trip, make sure you stop at Market Street Shoes. Trust me, you'll find just what you need to make your trip not only enjoyable, but fashionable.
Yo, and ho. It's Jake from Converge Media here. You know me, I've been getting it outside in some tropical environments lately, but I'm home for the winter and wanted to pass along some tips from the Seattle Department of Transportation to help all of us in these cold weather months. When it snows, and we gotta bet it will, be a good neighbor. Clear your sidewalks near your home, business, or job site. Keep those paths wide enough so a giant like me could walk through them. If you don't have to drive, then don't. Take it from me, I'm a public transit connoisseur in this city. You can get around by bus, light rail, or streetcar all over the region. And when your feet do hit the street, make sure that you slow it down a notch. I'm telling myself this as we speak. Roads and sidewalks can still be slick. If you need more helpful hints, visit the winter weather page at www.seattle.gov/transportation/winter-weather. Stay safe, people. Chill so you can enjoy the chill.
Pacific Northwest Ballet is thrilled to be back on stage with your favorite holiday tradition, the Nutcracker. Brighten your holidays with this timeless tale, performed by PNB's incredible company of dancers to the live magic of the PNB Orchestra, playing Tchaikovsky's classic score. Treat your loved ones to the Nutcracker at Seattle Center's McCaw Hall. Tickets and health and safety information at pnb.org.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Update show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday, and I'm so excited because joining me on the set right now is Miss Debrena Jackson Gandy. Hi, Miss Debrena.
Hey, Trey. So good to see you this morning.
Yeah, it's so great to be with you. I mean, I've been able to interview you online and all that, but now you're officially here in the studio.
Woo!
And you're bringing your amazing energy.
Love it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much. You really have a long legacy. There's a list of things that you have really been doing in terms of intentionality to bring resources and education to community. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into this new recent way that you're bringing resources into community.
Yes. Well, I'm so excited because I'm third generation entrepreneur, and my parents met at Southern University, and they both are community leaders and activists. So it's in the blood, speaking up, making a difference, doing what you can. And so, yes, since I moved to Seattle in 1990, I have been doing empowerment, lots of empowerment work with women, especially Black women, lots of empowerment work with our community, whether it's the Elevate events, 11 empowerment events, bringing together Black men and Black women to synergize and build business and collaboration and connection and get the love vibe going and keep the positive vibe going, or the direct impact dollars initiative that went to empower Black businesses, or working with Ezel's Famous Chicken with their Rub initiative, which is about raising up Black businesses and serving as the project manager. So, whatever and however I can do, because I love my people and we are just so genius.
You know what? I mean, straight chills as you just give your list, because, as a young woman, there's several women in our community. And, Dr. Mim said, look, if you don't know this person, you need to know them. If you don't know so-and-so, you need to know them. And your name was always on that list, right?
Wow.
And so getting connected with you at Black Dot and through Africa Town and stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, there she is, Debrena Jackson Gandy, and you've done so many things. You're an author, a public speaker, you're an educator, you're an entrepreneur, and you hold it all together so well. So I'm excited to have you here. And, again, you continue to bring resources to community. Tell us about this new launch you have going on, because this is phenomenal as well.
Well, I just got to do a shout out, first of all, to Edward Newbins, because I invited him to a big celebration dinner at Communion, our fabulous award-winning Black-owned restaurant here in the Central District. And our family presented them with a framed version of the Condé Nast article that named them as one of the top hottest new restaurants globally in 2021. And so they said, Debrena, bring people to celebrate with you at the communion table, seats 12. Edward Newbins is one of those people, my mentor of 26 years, Dr. Maxine Mims. And Edward introduced me to the Central Area Collaborative and said, there's someone I want you to meet. It was the executive director of the collaborative, Dennis Comer, who I happen to know from some of the empowerment work I'd started back in 1990, Enlightened Women's Circle, Enlightened Men's Circle, bringing brothers and sisters together. So it was a full circle moment to walk into Joyce's Market, another fabulous Black-owned market and cafe I didn't know about until recently, to meet. And so here we are working in partnership with the Central Area Collaborative that's all about supporting and empowering small businesses in that particular district that at one time used to be redlined. Only Black folk could be in that area of the city. And so, yes, they have contracted with masterminds to bring some awesome and powerful, relevant, on the ground business training. And I've partnered with the company of Edward Newbins, Abstract Digs, and the Motivated Life Institute, who was just introducing us. And I'm like, no, because this is how we do it, right? Come on now, let's partner to execute on this contract. So yes, so we are going to be, with all of our love of Black business, all the training and consulting and business coaching that I've done with Black businesses through my company masterminds and through my community work, now is an opportunity to partner with them and do what we do and help businesses grow.
Well, yeah, I know we don't have a overlay of the flyer here. So it's like a cohort. I mean, a business can come in, get this information, talk about it from the business side.
Yeah.
What are they going to be gaining as they participate?
Right. Well, it's a 2-part training. And the reason it's 2 parts is, 1, just the amount of information we want to be able to share. But 2, we also going to give businesses some homework in between the sessions. So January 8th, 2022, and then they'll come back in 2 weeks, the 22nd. So 10 to 12 noon Pacific, both those mornings. And we've laid out a curriculum that really looks at, 1, the growth mindset, because to operate a business requires a certain set of, let's say, muscles. To grow a business requires a very different mindset and a different way of functioning in your business. And often we think they're one and the same. So we have the growth mindset, then we have a segment of Business 101, the first part of it, that's focusing on marketing. Marketing is cause, sales is the result. And we often, if we say, I want to grow, well, you have got to impact your marketing game so it translates in increased ka-ching revenue sales. And so, and then the third part of it, which will be on the 22nd, the third and fourth parts of it are going to be talking about your numbers. A lot of times as business owners, we know our craft well, but we aren't doing the planning. We aren't looking at the numbers. We don't know what our profit margins are, or it can be a little overwhelming, or we were just never taught that in terms of our business, tutoring or mentoring that we received. So we're going to be talking about what are the important numbers in section 3. And then in the fourth part, all in the 22nd, how do you put together a simple but actionable plan to help your business grow? What does that look like? We're going to give you some tools and walk you through how to do it. So when you leave, it isn't just, okay, good luck, but you should have something in hand that you can now act on after those 2 Saturdays of training. And we're making it relevant because as small business owners, and especially micro enterprise business owners, 5 or fewer employees, we're meeting you where you are. So whether you're a new business owner or whether you've been around for several years and maybe have a staff of 10 or 20 or more, the training is going to be relevant. So really excited. Calling it Business 101 and Business 102. That's what we're going to be doing.
Amazing. I mean, when I think about the different ways that you've been utilizing your expertise to impact Black businesses in this region, you've really stayed so thorough, but also so innovative in the approach. How was it to build this with Edward Newbins and bringing his expertise into bear? And you guys able to collaborate on something so magnificent for these businesses?
Well, I think, Converge Media converging to collaborate, right? And so I've always been a huge collaborator, partnered with, brought in other businesses, brought in other individuals, worked in teams, worked in groups. And that's just kind of how I've rolled. And so in this case, because Edward has strengths that I don't have, research being one of them. And we wanted to be sure that we cast the net wide when we were inviting and reaching out to businesses in the Central District zip codes. And that's his forte. And he also has done a lot of awesome work in the community, volunteer work, as well as working with corporations like Microsoft and AT&T. So he really brings that well-rounded, highly connected, loves our community aspect. And then to see a Black woman and a Black man, their businesses partnering to do a training for business owners, that's kind of novel. And so, we're really excited about the synergy of bringing our complementary skills and experience and knowledge and the best that we can bring for our business owners because they deserve it.
Well, I know we had the flyer up there, and I know Curtis was putting the link right there in the comments so people can figure out how to register. But give us that information real quick so folks know, hey, this is something I need to get on.
Yeah, well, the best part, oh my gosh, it's sponsored. So it's free to business owners. And we definitely want to be sure that business owners from the 98144 and 98122 zip codes of the historic Central District definitely are represented and show up strong, because that's really the primary focus, particularly for the Central Area Collaborative. But they also, in their generosity, have said, we can open this up to other small businesses. And so you're going to include the link so folks can click on that link if they are on the Converge website or YouTube channel. But you also can go to cacseattle.org, which is the Central Area Collaborative's website. And under projects, you will see this as the very first thing listed so that you can get registered. And we are almost full, which is really exciting. The response has been amazing because so many folks started businesses in 2019 and 2021. And so they have just really showed up strong. But those are some of the ways that they can get registered. If all those fails, they can email me or contact me through Facebook, Debrena Jackson Gandy, or email me, Debrena@milliondollarmentor.net. So we want them to get in if they want to be a part.
Well, I would be remiss. I have this amazing woman, so full of insight. Before I let you go, we're ending the year off, 2021. I just want to ask you, because you've done so many different things, what is a great piece of advice you have for those young businesses as we move into 2022? You can look right there in the camera and make sure they hear directly from you.
Wow. Well, I think I would narrow it down to two things. I mean, right, there's so many wonderful things I could share about business, but I'm going to say one is clarity, and two is be sure you have a written plan. Doesn't have to be a business plan, doesn't have to be something 8 or 9 pages long, but have a plan, or think of it as a map. That's one of the things we're going to be supporting businesses in the Business 101 and the Business 102 training. But those two things can take you very far. Clarity about what you uniquely bring to the marketplace and being sure that's communicated well and powerfully through all your channels, and then having your growth map laid out for 2022. Those who do those two things, they'll be head and shoulders above other businesses.
Amazing. Thank you so much again, Ms. Debrena, for being
Thank
here. at the
you,
Converge
Miss Trey.
Studios.
It's always a pleasure.
You know, I'm so glad we finally got you in person, and we're making this happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, you guys heard it right there from Debrena Jackson, Gandy herself. Amazing resources coming for you businesses out there that are looking for more support, more understanding. They're going to be giving it to you from a lived experience perspective, and they're centering on Black businesses and businesses that are within the Central District. And hey, she said there's a little bit of room for those of you who are outside of that. So please log on, click the link right there. Curtis put it in the comments for you guys to dive in deep in the Business 101 and Business 102 courses coming right at you. After this short break, I get to bring my guy, Big O, back to the set. Stay tuned. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
These hands bear fruit and witness through muscle and memory to that which cannot be taught. Passing down the blueprint of flowers and wringing waters from the root, bringing nourishment to the masses. There is no grade that can attain the heat that we sustain. A path unclear to most, and still we press on. We flip survival into revival again and again. Be reminded of where you come from, for life is the foundation of every generation.
Pacific Northwest Ballet is thrilled to be back on stage with your favorite holiday tradition, the Nutcracker. Brighten your holidays with this timeless tale, performed by PNB's incredible company of dancers to the live magic of the PNB Orchestra, playing Tchaikovsky's classic score. Treat your loved ones to the Nutcracker at Seattle Center's McCaw Hall. Tickets and health and safety information at pnb.org.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday, and joining me back on this set is my co-host with the most, Big O. What up, Big O?
All right, good to be back. Lots of great advice from Debrena Jackson Gandy. And, you know, every time I talk to her, that's the one thing I'm always saying, like, what advice do you have? What advice? And just to let people know, people paid Debrena for her advice, by the way. So you got a free nugget, you know what I'm saying? Chalk another win for the Morning Update Show.
You are so right about it. And I got to say, she was popping off that wall with her black and white and that accent of pink. You know, I love pink. She looked amazing. And you know what? Again, always so dedicated to bringing everything she knows to the community. And it's another way that we talk about people who pay it forward, man. You know, you get so much in return just by being genuine and caring about others. And she does that immaculately.
Yeah, no doubt. Speaking of dedication, I had a great opportunity over the weekend to sit down with Jake Grabrot. And, you know, people are like, man, you always sit down with Jake one way or another. No, this guy's on the move. He's always somewhere. And the last 3-4 weekends, I haven't been here. You know what I'm saying? I've been all over. And man, it was hours. We actually sat for hours and we talked about so much. It was just Jake on camera. I was sitting there in the chair and we talked about so many things. But what we're doing right now is, it's 2021 year in review. And also on that note, I'd invite people to go to wherewecconverge.com/post. And you'll see some of our early 2021 in review segments up there. Yesterday, it was summer season all year. And then prior to that, taking Black Pride. And so some of our stellar segments. So I talked to Jake Grabrot and I was like, yo, one of the very first segments that we really dove into here is when he went to the Grand Canyon, after his father passed away. And looking back at 2021, Jake put his own spin on it. I sound like, you should write something. We'll put it in the blog. He said, it's not Grabrot style. He said, let me sit down and talk about it. So we're going to show you here 2 clips, right? And the first one is me talking to Jake about the time that led up to him, to his father passing, and why he decided to go and make this segment there in the Grand Canyon. And then we'll play that segment. And we got so much response. I'll wait till afterwards, but I'll just say we got so much response from people, especially people who suffered a loss of their father or something like that, who really appreciated Jake's sharing this experience with him. So the first clip right here, this is me and Grabrot talking about why he went to the Grand Canyon.
Like, for me, when I saw that segment about your dad, I saw a whole different Jake that I had never seen before. Like, you capturing the outside world or the world around you. And even when you've done some stuff where you're kind of telling the story, you're like, here's this thrift shop, here's Petty Rosso, or here's whatever. But that was the first time that I seen a story about you. And even though you were still talking about, man, here's the Grand Canyon and everything else, that shit impacted me. Of all the things, like, did that just pop in your mind instantly? Like, man, this is what I should do.
This is what I can do for him. I think I want to go to the Grand Canyon now. I think I want to take this trip that I've taken so many times before. And like a month before all of this, I was like in a really rough place mentally. Like it's a combination of like, the winter in Seattle is tough, just as it is. It's like months of gray and rain, and you don't see the sun, and I forget how much the sun means to my well-being. But it was 2020, and we had been through some shit, like collectively, individually, as a city, as a people who are trying to move humanity forward, and so. That was like a rough year. And all the big years, for me, always seem to have like divorce in them. And so like, I left my wife, soon to be my second ex, in the spring of that year, right before the protests started. And so I didn't have any time to heal, like at all. But I did have this, which was something that was so important to me to immerse myself in. So it wasn't like I was like diving headfirst into like a bunch of stuff that, was gonna be worse for my soul. This helped my soul very much. But I didn't have any downtime to heal. And healing for me has always been a very isolationist kind of a thing. It's why you'll joke, you say, I called Grabrot up and he's in, he's in Utah or he's in wherever, he's in Hawaii, but like that kind of time is not just going out and like getting the F outside, it's been like a portion of my healing for a long time, is to like travel and to go and see the world. And then, as I got a camera, I started documenting things and like So all of that collectively kind of came together for me to say, I'm gonna do this hike, because a month prior, when I was in this major low point, I did this Angel's Landing hike that pushed me well past my comfort level. You know, I don't think GTFO is just get the outside. I think it's just as much get the F out of your comfort zone. You know, I mean, and that's something that's kind of happened over the course of like this whole thought process. Is like, it ain't just like get outside, it's like push yourself to places that you never thought you could go. And so collectively, I think all of that has led to like this documentation of it. And as I was coming into that week of that road trip, I was like, well, I'm gonna film this whole thing, you know. And what better way for me to pay tribute to my dad than something that's lasting? Because at this point now, I think the internet is just like, here's where everything's going to exist. You know, our digital footprint, and for most of us now, it's a digital life print that is being created. And so I want the legacy of my dad and what he meant to me to exist in like my form of art, you know? And therein was, I'm gonna do this hike that we couldn't finish together in the last place that I went to with him on the last full day of my road trip, which is my 40th birthday.
2 weeks ago when I had this road trip planned, I had never even considered actually going to the Grand Canyon, let alone hiking down to the bottom. But life doesn't always give you exactly what you plan for. And 2 weeks ago, my dad passed away of a long battle with Alzheimer's. But when I started to think about things that I could do in a way to honor him, as well as to grieve in the kind of way that I uniquely do, I realized that one place that we consistently were able to go to, especially over the course of the time that he lived in Arizona, was the Grand Canyon. A couple of years back, my ex-wife and I decided to take him on a trip to the Grand Canyon, and it was the last place that I was ever able to go with him. It was difficult because he was having trouble with his walking and his equilibrium, and he got scared easily and didn't know where he was and wasn't very active to begin with at that point. But it was the last place that I was able to go with him that was our own. And I remember on that trip he actually said multiple times along the drive, or even in the canyon itself, as the light was hitting the walls just right, he commented on the colors, the reds and the pinks. So the canyon is a special place, and I realized that if I was going to do this trip right, I needed to actually integrate the Grand Canyon into it. And instead of actually being able to see my dad before this trip started, I was going to instead be having to grieve my dad over the course of this trip. It was too close to home, if you will, and I was also too close to the actual trip itself to even consider doing anything differently. This trip was going to happen, and that's all that there was to it. So I added the Grand Canyon into this and decided that the one thing that I could do that would mix things up a little bit, that would also kind of honor him in a way that I wanted to, was I was going to actually hike into the Grand Canyon itself. There was a point when he and I and my mom and my son started the South Kebab Trail and made it a mile down and then came back up. That was as far down, I believe, as he ever actually went into the canyon itself. And I thought to myself, this is what I need to do. I need to take my dad with me. I need to go into this place and spend time in this hallowed region, this beautiful example of what Earth has to offer. And I need to go. I need to take the memories of my dad there. I need to create new memories even without him. And I'm going to do this hike. I'm going to make it down to the bottom. I'm going to show him a place that he's never been, inside of a location that he's been many times. And so I set out to go on this road trip with this final task of completing the hike in and out of the Grand Canyon as my goal. The week itself was going to be spent watching sunrises and sunsets, sunrises especially being the thing that makes me think of my dad, because the day that he died I was on a walk, and I kept on walking super early in the morning, heading north with the most furious of pacing and the intention to just keep on going and keep on going and keep on going and keep on going and not to look back. And for whatever reason, right around sunrise that morning, I decided to turn back, and I saw the most vivid and vibrant of colors that I've ever seen in a sunrise, and it was the colors, the exact same kind of colors that would have wowed my dad and marveled his attention to the point that he would have exclaimed, "Look at that, that's really pretty." And I felt like that was my dad that morning. And so I've been intentionally trying to seek out sunrises, and I thought to myself, on this particular trip, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that every day. I'm going to be up for sunrise. I'm going to be out for it. I'm going to be present for it. I'm going to meditate with it. I'm going to breathe it in. And so I did.
Oh my gosh. When you talk about beauty in terms of a tribute to your father, Jake, my word, breathtaking. I almost have no words. And the thing is y'all don't know this, but me and Jake share a lot of moments where Jake's like, "Come, Trey, look at this, check this out." And I get to see snippets of the brilliance that he captures on these trips. But this one in particular, Jake came back with some phenomenal imagery. And to put it together like that in terms of the tribute to your father, Jake, brother, just warmed my entire existence today. I love you so much.
You know, man, I remember, like I said, the first time, and this is probably for this year, this is probably the third, maybe the fourth time we've aired that segment, because, you know, every time that we air it, you know, someone always reaches out and they're just in a better place, you know, and especially this last going on 2 years now, COVID, and so many people, you know, not being able to say goodbyes and all those kind of things. The other thing I wanted to say here is how fortunate we are to have Jake Gravbrot.
Yes.
And, you know, it's really fate. And it's a lot of people on this team that the Seattle protest brought together. T-Dub, one of them, you know, Jake Gravbrot, Alia. And in the midst of chaos is when I met Jake. And a totally different thing. You know, Jake's a big guy. It was security. I had no idea that Jake was a photographer. You know what I'm saying? But I knew that he has experience doing security. And man, this relationship that's just blossomed and evolved and everything else. I mean, we are so fortunate here at Converge Media to have Jake Gravbrot and to be able to also watch him just blossom right in front of our eyes.
I mean, you're 100% right about that. Oh, and you know, I always say, shout out to my favorite photographer, Jake Gravbrot, walk dot into dot the dot light. But that right there is really the truest example of Jake pouring his everything into something, and for the audience to be able to reap the benefits of the brilliance of how he pulls these images together in his head and then actually creates something like that. But it was narrated by him in such an organic, authentic way. I know your father is looking down on you so proud, Jake, honestly, because what an amazing way to show your love for your father. I only hope that all of us again can be inspired by something like that.
Yeah, and you know, I tell people, man, be on the lookout for GTFO season 2. And a lot of, as we, like I said, me and Jake talked for hours. And as a lot of these episodes come out, that you'll find that this journey that he's on right now, GTFO, and how he's moved across America and even down there in Belize. A lot of that got its genesis from right there going into that Grand Canyon and Angel's Landing. Man, we're up against the Trey holiday. Before I ask you for any last words, I want to remind everybody that we're getting it Nutcracker. That's Wednesday, the 22nd. Fantastic with the overlay there, Mr. Delgado. Man, what I want you to do is if you want tickets to get it nutcracking with Converge Media, man, email me directly, Omari, Omari, at whereweconverge.com. We got 2 pairs of tickets. If you've been to the ballet before, once you pass on this one, so we can leave some tickets for people who haven't, go ahead and send me an email, and we'll see if we can get you nutcracking with us at McCall Hall on Wednesday.
Absolutely. And you guys know, for me, last words, always see yourself as part of the solution. I'm just so inspired by Debrena Jackson Gandy, who was here earlier on set with us, pouring her love into community and giving all that she can with her lived experience and expertise. And then again, with Jake Gravbrot right there, somebody who has been so inspired by the beauty that nature has to offer and then shares it with us in such a great way. So see yourself as a part of the solution. We gave you some amazing inspiration today. I hope you take it in so that you can also do what you can to make this world a better place.
All right, good stuff. Well, on that note, everybody, want to remind you, go forward in your purpose, go forward in your humanity. And until tomorrow at 11 a.m., peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rise.